Welcome back to Joel's Sports Cards, and for the first time ever, welcome to the 5 C's series that stands for Conversations with Content Creators in the Card Community. Joining us today is Acme Packs. Acme, say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here.
This is the inaugural first time ever. So if you're watching this, what you can anticipate is a conversation between two people who have YouTube channels that are looking to have card-centric content. So Acme, you have your YouTube channel called Acme Packs, and I would love for you to tell the people, how did you end up getting that name?
So that name, I'm a huge Packers fan, and I was like thinking of everything, and the Packers originally got their name from the Acme Packing Company in Green Bay. So naturally, that kind of was a way to get to Acme Packs.
What did Acme pack? What was their actual?
It is a company that makes everything. Is literally what the acronym is.
That's actually awesome. So I grew up in Minnesota. Vikings are my number one team. But Brett Favre is the quarterback when I'm growing up. And one of my best friends down the street was a Packers fan.
Yep.
And I really liked watching the Packers if they were the different time slot as the Vikes. So I'm a Vikings fan whose second favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. Do you have a problem with me? Just let's get it over.
No, I have no problem with any of the NFC North guys because they can't beat us. So
and honestly, I respect the Packers franchise. That's what it kind of comes down to, is that for the decades I've been watching, they've done it right. So why would I get mad at them for doing things well?
No. And I love watching all the NFC North matchups. They're always a lot of fun. I've got Bears fans, Vikings fan friends, Lions fans. We all love the sport. So just happy to watch football with them.
Yeah, the Saints are my least favorite team because they've really messed with us.
Oh yeah.
Who would you say is your least favorite NFL team?
Probably the 49ers for knocking us out of the playoffs every year.
Right. It's kind of those historic moments that bring us to the anger. Okay, that makes sense. So looking at it, and also then you got Packs, which is clearly part of what we're doing in the content community.
Exactly. Yep.
That's awesome. So how old is your channel? When did you start it?
Started it about 7 months ago in November. So I collected a lot of Pokemon and a lot of baseball when I was really young and kind of kept that going through grade school. But then I got away from it in high school and college. And then I was hanging out with one of my friends who's a huge card collector. And he was like, the hobby's kind of blowing up right now. And this was about mid 2021. So I was like, all right, well, I'll give it another shot and start to get back into it. And then one day I was watching YouTube and my wife saw me watching it and she was like, hey, you love sports cards. Why don't you try doing this? And I was like, sure, why not? So uploaded my first video in November, late November, and kind of been going steady since then.
Dude, so many of us have to convince the wife that this is what we should do. It sounds like she kind of convinced you.
She did, yeah. I wasn't going to do anything with it originally. And she was like, I mean, you have experience, talking into cameras and stuff at work. So why not, try it out? I mean, worst thing you can do is fail.
Totally. That's such a good approach to have. So you started around 7 months ago and you just put content out there. But as it's forming and where you kind of see yourself now, what's the niche that you see Acme filling in the YouTube content creating card community?
So I go for more of a informational approach, talking about what you can exactly get out of it, what packs you're looking for, what parallels you're looking for. And I want guys to make an educated guess as to what packs might have value or what boxes might have value, because there's a lot of garbage out there. I mean, Playbook Football is the first one that comes to mind. That's a horrible set. And I want people to know that so they don't go waste their hard-earned money on it. And then stuff like Mosaic, everyone knows, is awesome because there's multiple case hits and different parallels that are worth something. And they cost about the same monetarily wise. So I want people to know exactly what they're getting into. And it's a lot of fun for me to open up these packs on stream too.
Totally. That's actually how I describe what I do to people that don't understand the YouTube card community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of folks that want to watch videos because they're trying themselves to figure out if they should buy that product.
Exactly.
It feels like something that people understand, because otherwise they're like, so you just like open cards and people like care about it. And it's like, well, they don't really care about necessarily what I'm getting. They're caring what they could get themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they want to see what cool parallels or awesome cards you can hit, but also what they could hit themselves. So you're totally right with that. You're spot on.
Right. So yeah, I see that in your channel, right? Informational. It seems like you try to bring a low key personality as well, where you're not just like the best card is the only thing that matters and everything is garbage.
No. Yeah. Of course not. I mean, I love the hobby, and it's not all about money. I mean, even though you could sell a cool card for a lot, I mean, I like hitting stuff for the Packers, for the Bucks. I mean, it could mean nothing to someone, but means the world to me. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I love about it. I mean, I'm sure you love your Vikings cards and Twins cards and all that, and they could be worthless to other people, but they mean it so much to you. And that's kind of how I run my channel.
And that comes through Acme. So you have that kind of starting. You have a 7-month window that you've really kind of been diving back into. In general, when you look at the hobby kind of big picture, what do you see as some of the strengths and the good things that are happening right now?
I love all the smaller channels that keep popping up. I mean, I'm still a very small channel as well. But it's awesome to see these guys just popping up and, trying the hobby for what they love and what they want to do. And if you're on like card Twitter or Instagram, those are awesome too, because people are always posting content, and it's just a lot of really cool and free content that we get to enjoy. Even us as content creators, like we get to see so many people opening different types of cards and different packs that we wouldn't normally do ourselves. And it's just awesome to see that. And I love it so much.
Yeah, for sure. And it feels like, when I was younger, I actually wrote for Bleacher Report when it first started.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. I wrote in their WWE section.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you think, oh, it'd be so cool to be a sports writer, right? But with Bleacher Report, they actually started off where you could apply as a non-professional writer and get access. They got so big that then they started hiring professional writers. But with podcasts about sports or sports writing, it feels hard to get an audience without being kind of to a certain level.
Yes.
I don't feel like that's the same with sports cards on YouTube. I feel like you can have kind of a small audience and really grow it organically in a way that is different than podcasts or sports columns would be.
No, I totally agree. It's awesome to create your own community for what you're going for. And especially when you have your niche, which is like, for instance, mine is informational. And I have lots of guys in my comment section asking me, oh, like, where can I find these? Like, what cards are you looking for? What rookies are you looking for? It's awesome. There's so many guys that have questions and want to get into the hobby, but don't have the information to do it. So that's where we come in, is making those types of videos.
Totally. And because you can't really just go to cardinformation.com and get everything you need to know, right? Like it takes a community, it takes somebody sending you an email and you responding back with stuff to actually get that info out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I totally agree. Those are some great positives. When you look at, some areas of growth, some things that maybe you wish were in a better place or more ideal, what kind of tweaks would you hope for the card community in general?
I mean, I think the card community is a very positive place. I mean, the only negativity I see in the card community has to go with the prices of the cards right now. And, hobby boxes are essentially unattainable for the average collector. I mean, Prism came out at $1,350. Like it's incredible. Like it's hard to afford at that point. And I think that boils down to the scalping that goes on, and that's kind of died down a little bit. So that's pretty good. We'll see when Prism retail hits and what happens there, because we've been in a lull with cards, especially new releases and high-end sets. The last big set to get released was probably Mosaic, and that went nuts. It was hard to find anywhere.
Yeah.
The other issue is breakers. I mean, I personally love doing breaks and they're fun, but Panini does happen to favor them, and they give them large quantities of stock, thus driving up the pricing. Obviously, nothing wrong with that on the breakers ends. Like, they're just doing what they do. That has to do with Panini, and they do lose their rights to the NFL and the NBA in 2025. Right. So I think this is kind of a product of them trying to get out as much product as they can until they lose that license.
Right. Yeah, there's so many great conversations that we could spend hours talking about there. Mm-hmm. So what came to mind, though, is before 2020, people bought things more through a company, right?
Yes.
But we've all learned platforms now of I can get my product direct from the company, they can sell direct to consumer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that has to impact the card market more and more going forward. And we already see it, right? People go onto Panini's website when Prism Football is released and they buy it directly from Panini. And they can sell it out like that when it's the certain product. They don't sell out Playbook when they release Playbook hobby right away, but they can sell out certain things. And therefore, you can cut out that middle person, right?
Yep.
And that completely changes the price and the market and all that stuff. But it also is a hobby that is deeply traditional, and here's the way things are done, and that's understood. So in some ways, it's really interesting to see what Fanatics does, kind of pivoting that, as you're kind of alluding to. Will they go straight up directly to consumer? Will they go only to brick and mortar card shops? How will breakers, who are more and more able to have an online presence, will they keep getting allocation? Will it dwindle? All of that stuff is hard to understand fully, right?
Yeah, no, totally. And, I want the LCS stores to keep getting them because I want to support local businesses and everything. And, Panini, they sell at the aftermarket pricing. MSRP for, say, Prism, I think is around $200. Yep. And then the rest is just a markup. But yeah, I want to see these LCS stores keep getting their product and, sell them at a reasonable cost. And I think Fanatics will continue to do that, as well as selling online. I mean, if you've done any of their exclusive drops or anything, or bought from them, they package stuff amazingly. It's every single box is individually bubble wrapped and peanuts in the box. So it's not a Target. They're not just throwing them in and letting the cards get destroyed. So that is one thing they're doing great.
I've tried to get onto those Fanatics drops. I've lost the lottery every time. So at some point it's going to change, but yeah, I think it's interesting when we try to feel like supply and demand, and this is more, I know, your territory and your background as well. There's people that when you get into the hobby, let's say some people come in with a certain budget, right? I have this much money I feel comfortable spending. Some people, nothing. They don't have a plan, right? They just see something, they want it, impulse buy. But a concern that I have is that some people the last 2 years, right, who came back in, they probably collected as a kid to whatever degree and whatever year that was. They felt like, hey, I have some discretionary income that I can spend right now. It's really fun. They get back into it. And let's say the last 2 years haven't been a positive financial, trend for them. They either ripped the wax and didn't hold the value they were hoping, or they bought in on a player and then the market dipped and they're kind of in the below. Is it red or it's red?
It's red. When you're in the black, you're positive. Red, you're in the negative.
Yeah. So they're in the red. And I'm concerned that now we have like buyers who are all in the red, and they're a little bit more hesitant to keep on going when they maybe had a negative first experience re-entering. Is that stuff that's on your radar, or do you think?
Oh yeah. I had a friend that when we were getting back into it in July of 2021, he bought a box and paid pretty good money for it and got next to nothing in value. And he's like, I'm done. I can't do this.
Right.
So it deterred him as someone who wanted to get into the hobby, but paid a lot for a box and didn't get anything of value out of it. And again, the value isn't everything, but when you're paying for something that costs a substantial amount of money, you're hoping to at least, make your money back.
Right. And it's also the old adage, money doesn't grow on trees, right? Like,
yeah.
Eventually you have to have the dollar bills to put into something, or you have to sell set thing in your personal collection to be able to buy something new.
Exactly. I mean, I'm constantly selling stuff to get stuff that I want for my personal collection. I mean, I pull a guy from the 49ers and it's like, okay, yeah, it's cool to have him, but I want Packers players. So, I mean, that's also a cool thing with the hobby, is being able to do that, buy, trade, sell, all that stuff.
Totally. So when you look at the future of Acme Packs and kind of your channel, the content you're trying to create, what do you see as kind of some areas of focus for you?
So as far as the channel goes, I'm going to continue doing the informational and everything. And, as I grow, as I gain more support and more followers, I'll be starting to do bigger boxes, just like any YouTube channel. Right. And, that's if I get there and everything, but I'm just trying to have fun with it right now. And it is a hobby. It is a very fun hobby. And I'm very thankful to be able to share it with everyone. And then as far as growth and everything, I am creating a website as well. I had it kind of where I wanted it, and I ended up deleting it. And now I'm revamping it and trying to create more of a blog posting website out of it. And so I'll have my video reviews, and then I'll also have written reviews as well.
When did you delete it?
Yesterday morning.
I was going to say, I feel like I've been on it recently and it didn't look different. Okay, breaking news.
Yeah.
Podcast series. Okay, well, that's good to know. We're going to have your information in the bio, in the description of this video. Is there any other kind of plugs, Acme, you'd want people to be aware of for your content?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm very thankful for all the support. I'm thankful to be able to do this with you. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, I love being able to connect with other people in the hobby, and I've made a lot of friends in the last 7 months that I would have never met otherwise. So this is just awesome.
Well, Acme, you've been a person who's been trying to be collaborative. I didn't understand how to get 2 screens on my YouTube videos, and I messaged a lot of the big guys who have hundreds of thousands of followers, and I won't say who, but nobody got back to me. I get it. They get so many messages. It's hard to sustain, but you took the time to teach me, show me how to do that. And so thank you for the ways you've supported Joel's Sports Cards. And it's just fun to be able to do this. We are hoping to have more content creators in the card community on this 5 C's video series. So if you're interested and you have a YouTube channel, please email me at joelsportscards@gmail.com. I'd love to be able to keep this up. Any final words, thoughts, Acme?
No, nothing at all. This was a lot of fun, and I look forward to watching all the rest of the series.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Until next time, y'all, keep ripping.